Yo, what's good? Amateur Lore here, and we're back with another video taking a look at some teams who nearly made it to the BCS National Championship game. I just want to say thank you guys for all the recent support by doing a little giveaway. So if you want to win a mini helmet of your favorite college football team, all you got to do is subscribe and comment your favorite team down below. I'm giving away maybe 2 or 3, so be looking for me to respond to your comment if you win so we can figure out how to get it to you. Simple enough, right? Anyway, let's jump right into the video. I didn't really want to make this intro that long. So the first school that I want to talk about today in this video is the Oregon Ducks. This school is easily one of the most recognizable brands in all of college football. I mean, come on, all of us at one point were fascinated with the swagger the Oregon Ducks had. Wearing all those different jerseys and having a mascot do push-ups after every touchdown, that shit was hard. Oregon has had many close calls when making the BCS National Championship. I could have chose their 2000, 2001, 2011, or 2013 seasons to cover for this video, but I'm going to be honest, I was already somewhat familiar with those football seasons, but their 2012 season on the other hand, I legit had no idea they were inches away from making the BCS National Championship game. So that is why I decided, you know what, let me take a little twin peeks at this 2012 Oregon football team. So here we are. Heading back to the 2012 college football season and looking through some of the Pac-12 preseason predictions, the entire conference was pretty much putting their money on the Oregon Ducks to win their conference and make a run for the BCS title, as almost every media member at the time had the Ducks predicted to win the Pac-12, with the USC Trojans being a close second, maybe being able to give Oregon some competition. And I mean, that's pretty sound logic, as the Ducks were returning majority of their offense and defense, and in the previous 2 seasons, the Ducks had won 12 games and finished the year ranked in the top 3 of the final AP. So it's pretty safe to assume that everyone in Eugene was expecting big things from the 2012 Duck squad, as well as the rest of the country. That was a short little intro. Now let's take a look at some of the dudes shaking stuff up at the Nike headquarters. Leading the team in his 3rd year up to that point, we got the offensive guru Chip Kelly, and he'd have this offense flying this year as they'd average a nasty 49.6 points per game, which was best for 2nd in the nation. And Oregon fans, you've had a lot of good coaches, so let me know where Chip ranks on your all-time coaching ladder. Shuffling over to the most important position in sports, we got a name I'm sure we all recognize, Marcus Mariota, who'd passed for 2,677 yards with 32 touchdowns, as well as rushing for 752 yards with 5 touchdowns. This team's identity and strong point this year was definitely their running game, and the man leading this deadly rushing attack was Kenyon Barner, and he had a monster season this year, rushing for 1,767 yards and 21 touchdowns. I also have to shout out the speed demon himself, DeAnthony Thomas, who'd finished the year rushing for 701 yards with 11 touchdowns, and also adding 445 receiving yards with 5 touchdowns. And finally, to round out this high-flying offense, leading the team in receiving was Josh Huff, with 439 yards and 7 touchdowns. To open up the 2012 college football season, the 5th-ranked Oregon Ducks would roar out of the gate to start the year. We're going to speed run past these first 3 games because they were against lower competition and the Ducks would blow them all out. Starting with the 57-34 win against Arkansas State. Quarterback Marcus Mariota played nearly perfect, passing for 200 yards with 3 touchdowns. That's about all they needed from him this game. Next up was Fresno State, and shout out to Derek Carr. He was the quarterback of the Bulldogs, but he couldn't do anything to save them, as they would get spanked by the Ducks 42-25. And finally, to end this little stretch to open up the season, a 63-14 win against Texas Tech. The Oregon Ducks were now sitting at 3-0 and ranked at the 3rd spot in the latest polls, as they were set to begin Pac-12 play, and their competition was going to take a slight step up, as the first 3 games against the conference were versus 22nd ranked Arizona, on the road at Washington State, and back at home against the 23rd ranked Washington Huskies. Now, of course, the Ducks would be favored in all of these games, but the Pac-12 was one of those conferences back in the day where teams would cannibalize each other, making it extremely hard for a team to make it out, so the Ducks would need to be careful while navigating through early Pac-12 play if they wanted to keep their BCS title aspirations alive.
Mariota over the middle, touchdown, Ducks! 7 and 8, Mariota, got him, does he ever? Braylon Addison, 3rd and 7 for Scott. Pressure, gets rid of it, and that is picked off. Ekpre Olomu, right on cue, pick 6.
Just simply outplayed him all spring and August as well.
This is Barner. Barner breaks a couple of tackles. Got a block. Touchdown, Duck. Barner comes out of the backfield. And they look his way. He's wide open, folks. Touchdown, Ducks. Halliday gets rid of it. Picked off, and it could go for 6. Patterson. Ducks. Touch to get it with the ball from its own 20. Warner on the loose, breaks a couple of tackles, still running loose. Goodbye, touchdown Oregon. 80 with Mariota here on 2nd and 6. Anthony Thomas, how about that? Price, that is intercepted as Avery Patterson will bring it in. Won the last 8 meetings between these two by at least 17 points. And you can add more to that. Second and goal now. And that is intercepted by Isaac Dixon.
The Oregon Ducks would roll through this little 3-game stretch of Pac-12 play, starting with the 49-0 win against the 22nd ranked Arizona Wildcats. This game was all Ducks, although I do have to point out that going into halftime, Oregon would only be up 13-0. But I'm just going to chalk that up to a slow start. Big shout out to the Ducks defense, as they would have not one but 2 pick sixes. Next up was the Washington State Cougars, and they actually gave the Ducks a lot more trouble than I thought they would. The score going into halftime would be Oregon 23 to the Cougars 19. Pretty tight game, but the Ducks would tighten up, coming out of the locker room scoring 28 straight points, eventually winning the game 51-26. Running back Kenyon Barner had a monster performance, rushing for 195 yards with 3 touchdowns. The final game during this stretch versus 23rd ranked Washington Huskies would be just like the rest of the games during this stretch. Oregon would dominate, winning 52-21. Marcus Mariota was a beast in the pocket, passing for 4 tuds. And also shout out to the Ducks defense again, as they would have another pick 6 this game, which I think has to be my first time seeing 3 pick 6s in back-to-back-to-back games. Definitely a first for me on this channel. Oregon was now sitting at 6-0 and would be sitting at the 3rd spot in the latest polls. The Ducks were rolling, and the BCS National Championship game was at this point in the year extremely realistic. All they had to do was keep up the high level of play, as they had been dominating every team they had faced so far this season, hanging 42 points or more in each of their first 6 games. And to keep it at Jerry Stackhouse with you, in their next 2 games, things wouldn't change much. As versus Arizona State, Oregon would be up 43-7 at halftime and would win the game 43-21. Marcus Mariota would only throw for 46 yards this game, and that's all they would need from him. Kenyon Barner would have a much better stat line, rushing for 143 yards with 3 touchdowns. And versus Colorado, the Ducks would hang 70, with 56 of those points coming before halftime. Damn, they could have hanged 100 if they really felt like being assholes. All of these blowouts were extremely cool, and the Ducks would be sitting at 8-0 after these impressive wins. But the easy part of their schedule was done, and from now on, the step up in competition would be drastic. First up was a road game at the 17th ranked USC Trojans. This Trojan squad was probably the first team this season for Oregon that had the talent to actually compete with them, with the NFL-bound quarterback and receiver duo in Matt Barkley and Marquise Lee. Oregon vs USC was going to be a track meet, and with the Trojans' BCS hopes pretty much over, they were playing spoilers in this matchup. With how tight the BCS race was shaking up, the Ducks couldn't afford to lose this game.
Arizona for the Trojans. 2nd and 15. And they dump it off. Huff. Touchdown. They hand it off. Barner with a first down and more. Pops it outside to the corner. Kenyon Barner. Touchdown. 25. Matt Barkley, 8 of 12, 82 yards. He'll throw it all the way down. Marquise Lee. Caught. Marquise Lee. Touchdown. That's it. Goal at the 5. Barner looking to get to the corner and down. Barkley pumping, looking. Barkley in trouble. Barkley. Flag on the play in the corner. Caught. Robert Woods. Intricacies affect your play. Mariota running. Mariota with a first down. Watch out. He's got blazing speed. Mariota all the way down. Down by only 10. Play fake. Barkley throws a home run again. Aguilar! Oh my goodness! The freshman, Nelson Aguilar! Touchdown Trojans! 5 in the second half for the Trojans. Sign is red! Defense against Arizona. Barner again. Breaks it. Barner. End zone. Touchdown. Second down and goal to the pitch. Sign is red! Smack Tatum! Comes in for Barner in the backfield. Play fake. Mariota up the seam. Touchdown. 135 yards and a touchdown. Barkley rolling out of the pocket. Throws and touchdown. 300. Hand it to him. He won't take a loss at all. Kenyon Barner again. That's number 5.
This game was insane and would easily total over 100 plus points. Both teams would combine for 1,345 yards, which is just nasty saying out loud. USC quarterback Matt Barkley would pass for 484 yards with 5 touchdowns, but he wasn't the only quarterback balling out, because Oregon quarterback Marcus Mariota would pass for 304 yards with 4 touchdowns, only throwing 3 incompletions in the process. And I can't forget about the Ducks running back Kenyon Barner, who had the best stats on the night, rushing for, get this, 321 yards with 5 touchdowns. Bro was looking like Flight back in middle school. Both teams would put up a good fight, but the Ducks would come out on top, winning 62-51. After taking down the Trojans, let's be real, there was no way they were losing to 3-7 Cal in their next game. So let's fast forward past it, as they would destroy them 59-17. The Ducks were now 10-0 and ranked at the 2nd spot of the country. All they had to do was win the remaining 2 games of the season. They would be playing in the BCS National Championship game, most likely against Notre Dame. I'm getting ahead of myself though, because that would be easier said than done. Before Oregon could even think about the big dance, they had to deal with a scrappy 13th ranked 8-2 Stanford Cardinal football team. Not gonna say much, but if you're squeamish, fast forward past this game's highlights, because it was a bloodbath.
David Shaw and Stanford won the toss. They did not defer. They want the football. They want Stephon Taylor and this offensive line to go to work against the Duck defense to find out who's healthy and who's not. Back alongside him and Stephon Taylor. Right away on first down, there's a high percentage throw to Terrell, and Terrain coming down again here at Eugene. And sacked. Marcus on the move looking for a receiver, but he's got a long ways to run, remember, so he's still looking for a target. Sideline out of bounds. Right now, back in the gun. Finds the middle. Terrell. Them for getting here in plenty of time. Mariota back, and he takes off, and there's his scrambling ability. Onto the 35, breaks free. He's got great speed on that far sideline. One man to stop him, and he is brought. Keeps it himself, and he's not going to get it. Stanford football, the gamble fails. What a... Will be the first back to replace Taylor. They swing it to him, and Kelsey's got another first in space. Out to the... Play action. Hogan looking to throw. Keeps it. Busts a tackle. Dives. Touchdown. Stanford. And the offense. Thomas creeps up. Brings pressure. Incomplete. Stanford takes over. And one. Mariota stands in the pocket. Stands tall. End zone. Touchdown. Third down and 4 now for the Ducks. Wide open. Raiola for the first down at... Inside handoff to Anthony Thomas. Oregon lead. Rice puts it down. Off to the right. Is it going to curl? No good. Got it away. No good. Back offense. Middle's clogged. He's hit. Down he goes at the right guard. There was movement.
Free play here.
Offside. Hogan comes downfield. It is complete to Ertz, and Ertz will be out of bounds. And the big fullback, Hewitt, and goal. They blitz Hogan, fires end zone. Ertz hangs on. Oh my! No, they said it was down.
The back of his jersey,
now
the back
watch
of his helmet.
and watch the body.
Yep.
There's the body. All right, shoulder now. Wow. Only to move before the announcement.
After review, the receiver had control of the ball when he returned to the ground with his right shoulder. Touchdown.
I happen to agree with that. Wow. I thought of a minute. Mariano going long. Incomplete.
To the field. Stanford, you're the visiting team. You can call the toss. What do you call? You call tails. And it is tail. You want to be on defense? Which end of the field do you want to play at? Okay.
Play action. Tosses downfield, incomplete, and it's 4th down. Going to the left off the upright. No good. And now got it off. Taylor cuts back, stays on the left hash. On the left hash. Long enough for sure and good. Stanford takes down Oregon. Number 1 and number 2 both lose. For the first time since 2007.
Can somebody please let me know down below in the comments why it always has to be Stanford ruining the Oregon Ducks national title or playoff hopes? Oregon would lose to Stanford in overtime 17-14. This game was sloppy and ugly, which probably favored the Cardinals a hell of a lot more than the Ducks. Stanford would have the ball for about 15 minutes longer than Oregon, and I mean that's one way to stop a high-powered offense. If they can't get on the field and catch a rhythm, how effective could they really be? This tough loss would put Oregon's record on the season at 10-1, and the Ducks would see their number 2 ranking drop 3 spots back to the 5th spot in the latest polls. Oregon would bounce back during rivalry week, taking down the Beavers 48-24, and would finish the 2012 regular season with an 11-1 record and the number 4 ranking in the BCS. It's no secret that this season was natty or bust, so not making it to the big dance had to sting, but at least the Ducks would win their BCS bowl game against Kansas State 35-17, ending the season with a 12-1 record. Okay, leaving the West Coast in the state of Oregon, we travel all the way across the country to the East Coast to talk about our next team up in the video, the 2007 Boston College Eagles. I was going to cover the Iowa Hawkeyes at first, but then randomly this 2007 Boston College team just popped into my head, and from there I knew I had to take a look, because I know this team had some really high highs, but I don't really know the nitty-gritty and the details of this season from the Eagles. So here we are. Prior to this season, Boston College was coming off a pretty historical year, as in 2006 they were able to win 10 games, which was their most wins since 1984, and in the 2 seasons before 2006, the Eagles had won 9 games in both of those seasons. I say all this to say, coming into 2007, Boston College had a ton of momentum building up, and when going back in time and looking at some of the 2007 ACC preseason predictions lists I could find, a good portion of them had the Eagles finishing in 2nd place behind Florida State in the Atlantic Division, and I'm sure a good reason for that was the fact that Boston College was returning arguably the best quarterback in the ACC. So I'm just inferring the Boston College faithful were expecting great things from this squad this year, but I don't know if they thought it would turn out this good, but whoa, I'm getting way ahead of myself. That was just a short little intro, so now let's take a look at some of the studs making noise in Chestnut Hill. Leading the program in his first season up to that point was Jeff Jagodzinski, and I don't have much to say about him besides his name sounds like the Jabberwockies, and also that he might have one of the greatest first seasons for a coach ever, but I'll let y'all decide that down below in the comments. Skating over to the quarterback position, this team was led by future NFL MVP Matty Ryan or Matty Ice, and he would finish this year passing for just over 4,500 yards with 30 touchdowns. Wouldn't expect anything less from the GOAT Matt Ryan. Swinging to the running back room, the team lead in rushing was running back Andre Callender, who'd rush for just shy of a Band-Aid with 9 touchdowns. And finally, to round out the key offensive players, at receiver the team lead was Rich P. Gunnell, who'd catch 64 passes for 931 yards. Before we move on to the 2007 season, I also have to shout out defensive back Jamie Silva. He would have a monster 125 tackles with 8 picks. And when I saw those 125 tackles, I was like, is that even real? To open up the college football season, the Boston College Eagles were starting ACC play right away, as they would be matching up against last year's ACC champions, the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Definitely an early test. This game would go back and forth, starting off with Wake Forest jumping out to a 14-0 lead. Boston College would strike back, tying the game at 14-all, and from there both teams would exchange touchdowns, going into halftime tied at 21. The Eagles would come out in the third with Matty Ice tossing for 2 tuds, giving Boston College a 2-score lead, and from there they would close out the game, winning 38-28. Huge shout out to Matty Ice. He had a sway performance, passing for 408 yards with 5 touchdowns. Big win to open up the season, but the ACC conference games to start the season were not done just yet, as the Eagles had 2 more left before they could relax and play against some lower competition. But before that, Boston College had to handle NC State at home and the 15th ranked Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets on the road.
15-yard line. Ryan well protected to the outside, and he has his man reaching for the pylon as challenger, and he's in. Touchdown, Buster. Back in the late 90s, back on 3rd down and 10. Trying to find some room, buys time, wide open at the 10-yard line is Black. NC State, what a response by Beck after a shaky start of his own. Play action, Beck can walk it in. Touchdown, NC.
Tom O'Brien has his team ready to play this afternoon.
Beck will throw on 2nd and 10. Intercepted, walking into the end zone with a touchdown. See, hustles to the line with 4 seconds on the play clock. Callender at the goal line. He's in. Touchdown, Boston College and goal at the 1-foot line. The handoff into the end zone for a touchdown, L.B. Whitworth.
Jeff Jagodzinski.
2nd down and 13. Ryan fires complete and a missed tackle. And Whitworth in the backfield. They'll give it to Whitworth. Touchdown, Boston College.
So pretty educated on zone blitzes.
It gave Ryan enough time to throw. Has a man. Touchdown. What a catch. It'll be swelling by the minute. Hands it off to Whitworth. Whitworth with the next move. A little shake. Touchdown.
Boston College would look really impressive during these 2 early season conference matchups, taking down NC State 37-17. Matty Ice didn't have his best performance during this game, as he would only pass for 142 yards with 1 touchdown, but the real MVP of this game was the Eagles' defense and running back Andre Callender, starting with the halfback who'd rush for 158 yards and 3 total touchdowns, and finishing up with the defense who'd get this, pick off the opposing quarterback Harrison Beck 5 times. And those stats alone are crazy, but I'm not done yet, as the Boston College defense would also force and recover 3 fumbles, putting their total turnovers on the day at 8, which is how I hope Billy Napier has the Gators defense playing this season. While their win versus the Wolfpack was impressive, the better win of the 2 games was easily against the 15th ranked Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. BC dominated this game, outgaining the Yellow Jackets by 250 yards and holding them to 0 points all the way up until the 4th quarter. Matty Ice played much better this game, dicing the Georgia Tech defense up for 435 yards and a touchdown, culminating in a 24-10 upset against the 15th ranked Yellow Jackets. The big-time win against Georgia Tech would catapult Boston College in the rankings all the way up to the 14th spot in the country. And after that little stretch of ACC play, the Eagles could finally relax just a little bit, as the competition was easing up a bit, with 3 straight games versus mid-major opponents such as Army, UMass, and Bowling Green. I love our troops, I mean that for real, but Army just wasn't up to speed with this 2007 Boston College football team. Matt Ryan would cook, passing for 356 yards and 3 touchdowns, securing the win over the Black Knights 37-17. Next up was UMass and Bowling Green. Against the Minutemen, Boston College would be up 17-0 going into halftime, and while UMass would try to come back and make this game competitive, the Eagles would hold on, winning 24-14. After the game versus UMass, Boston College would jump up in the rankings all the way up to the 7th spot in the country. Not really because of their insane resume, but more so because it was 2007. And during this college football season, teams were getting upset left and right, and one team that really benefited from all this mayhem was the Eagles. With them being ranked 7th in the country, there was no way they were losing to Bowling Green, taking them down 55-24. And of course, Matt Ryan played great, passing for 312 yards with 4 touchdowns. Boston College was sitting at 6-0 and will be ranked at the 4th spot in the latest polls, heading into a road game against the college football powerhouse Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Any other year, this game would be massive, but this year the Irish were riding a 1-5 record and couldn't offer the Eagles the challenge that we all hoped they would, losing to Boston College 27-14, only being able to muster up 222 yards of total offense compared to the Eagles' 459. With another one in the bag, Boston College would jump up a couple more spots in the polls, more specifically to the 2nd spot in the country, their highest ranking since 1942. If you know anything about the 2007 college football season, then you know being ranked at the number 2 spot was a curse and almost guaranteed a loss in your next game. And unluckily for Boston College, their next game of the season might have been their toughest so far, as they were traveling to Blacksburg, Virginia to face off against the 8th-ranked Virginia Tech Hokies in a Thursday night showdown.
And welcome to Virginia Tech's Lane Stadium and college football primetime presented by Applebee's. A crucial game tonight in the national championship race. Number 2 Boston College and BCS number 8 Virginia Tech. Also an important ACC game. But BC, unranked in the preseason, has made a rapid rise. They've been doing their job while the upsets around them have vaulted them up to number 2.
Play. Yeah, it's a great crowd, but you know what? This is what you come to college to play in games like this.
And you got to be relaxed. When you're on the road in a hostile environment, the last thing you need to do is have a team playing tight. And this atmosphere lends itself to making a player uptight.
BC players say they prefer to play on the road where there's more juice than there is at home. They played a good game at Georgia Tech and at Notre Dame. There's the dangerous return man, Eddie Roll. Lennon looks left, runs out of time, and now throws the ball into traffic. Incomplete. Distance, 3rd and 8. Ryan hit as he throws.
Now they're calling it.
Lennon fires short. Good completion and Royal. Room
Goes again on this play.
3rd and 7. And it has time. Doesn't have a man open and fires for Royal. Did he get his feet in? No signal.
He's looking for help. He doesn't have help yet.
They're lobbying and they signal touchdown. Hokies figure to be very cautious here with the lead. And the snake miss fumble. Boston College football.
And again, remember, it's the backup center in Matt Welsh. They haven't had...
Ryan fires into traffic, incomplete.
Catch it in front of us and make a tackle. They got a lot of yards to get a first down.
They rush 3 and still get pressure, and he'll just throw it away.
Barry Booker, number 59, got the quick.
Now for Matt Ryan. 2nd and 10. Ryan, this time pass protection, fires over the middle, and Challenger has it. Kevin Challenger into Hokie territory. Number 48, the snap is low. Pressure off the edge. Ryan intercepted. They say interception on the sidelines. Diving at his mental approach, his psychological approach. It's getting the starting job back. On 3rd and 7, fires complete. It's caught by Justin Harper. Make it 11 of 12 on the season. Much better than their season average. Or these be stacked up for a loss.
What a great play.
Lennon wants to go downfield. Looking deep for Royal. Jump ball. And broken up.
A good thing will happen for us.
Second chance in playing the number 2 team in the nation, Chris.
An interception, Aaron. Ryan throws right. Schedule has to be considered a factor. Lennon wants to take a shot. Looking for Royal and throws it away. Miss all season long from 46. It's going to be a pooch punt. The direct snap gets the punt up in the air and it'll roll dead and about the 8. Ryan fires behind Brandon Robinson to make. Ryan fires over the middle.
Beautiful.
Completion into Hokie territory again. It's Robinson. There he is. This is the tight end, and Purvis has a lot of room. Ryan, pump fake, steps up, and run. Nice slide. I've seen better. Ryan for the end zone. Hunt for a touchdown, Gunnell. He beat Macho Harris with a beautiful throw. It will be an onside kick.
It was hit first by a Virginia Tech player, so that ball is live.
Eagles say they have it. It didn't travel 10, but a Hokie touched it first, and that puts it in play. Josh Morgan, the receiver on that hands team. Second drive. They bring the blitz. Delivered. Robinson makes the catch. Almost. Ryan on the run. Comes back to the near side. Fires complete.
On and for right now if you're Matt Ryan.
Plenty of time. Cannot take a sack here. Ryan will fire.
Oh,
the end zone. Wide open for a touchdown is Callender. And Lane Stadium goes silent with the 11 seconds to play. No, those are two Heisman drives.
Oh, my goodness. You know,
This game was batshit crazy, and in the worst way. Boston College couldn't find a rhythm for pretty much the first 3 quarters of the game. But boy, when that fourth quarter hit, the Boston College defense would continue doing what they've did all game long, keeping the Eagles in striking distance, and from there, Matty Ice would put together back-to-back Heisman moment drives. And man, that last throw to win the game was probably one of the best throws I've ever seen in college football. Where do y'all rank that throw all time? Let me know down below in the comments. Anyway, Boston College would take down the 8th-ranked Virginia Tech Hokies 14-10, but there was no time to rest, as literally next up was the ACC powerhouse Florida State Seminoles. And although they were not having the best year this year, this FSU squad was still loaded with NFL talent, so Boston College would have to bring their A game or risk being upset at home by a hungry Seminole squad.
People in Favre's case, certainly. And now Ryan fires end zone, and number 21 running formation, and they're going to throw out of it. Deep middle end zone, diving by Parker. Touchdown. That's 2nd down and 15. Here's Ryan sprinting, throwing it out of bounds, intercepted. Now Ryan back again. Goes deep, got a man open. Touchdown, Robinson. Ryan holds again. Middle open. Bust for the end zone. 5. Touchdown. Florida State. 2nd down and goal. Matt Ryan, fake throws, complete. Touchdown. And Purvis on this 2nd down and 7. Intercepted. That could do it. Touchdown, Florida State. Gino Hayes, their All-American linebacker, picks it off.
BC would lose to Florida State 27-17. Boston College was just sloppy all game long, looking like they had a little hangover from their Virginia Tech game. Matt Ryan would throw 3 interceptions, including the pick 6 that would seal the game in the 4th. After this tough loss, the Eagles would be sitting at 8-1 and fall back in the polls to the A spot. You know, a loss is never good, but Boston College was still in a pretty good position to make a push for the Natty if they could finish out their season strong. Sadly, that would not happen, as the following week on the road against the Maryland Terps, the Eagles would, no pun intended, lay an egg, losing 42-35. And while the score looks close, I do have to mention Maryland was up by 21 with 10 minutes left in the 4th quarter, and Boston College was scoring garbage time, so this game wasn't really that close. Matt Ryan would also not play his best football, tossing another 2 interceptions. BC was now sitting at 8-2, and while their natty hopes were pretty much out of the window, Boston College was still playing for an ACC title, and will respond after losing 2 straight by winning 2 straight, taking down 15th ranked Clemson 20-17, and finally to end the regular season a 28-14 win against Miami, putting the Eagles' record at the end of the regular season at 10-2, and their ranking in the AP polls to the 11th spot in the country. Boston College had played good enough this year to earn a spot in the ACC title versus a familiar foe, the 6th-ranked Virginia Tech Hokies. Unlike the first game, things wouldn't go as well for Boston College. Well, at least the second half wouldn't, as going into halftime the game would be tied at 16-all. But after that, Boston College wouldn't be able to score for the rest of the game, losing in the ACC Championship to the Hokies 30-16. That loss is tough, but I want to end this video on a positive note. I know they didn't make the natty, but to be fair, how many Boston College football teams have been this close? Anyway, the Eagles will get to play in the Champ Sports Bowl versus Michigan State with a chance to win their most games in program history since the 1940 football season. All they had to do is take down the Spartans. Could they do it?
To Boston College, he's a big Eagle fan. Hoyer thrown over the middle, wide open, touchdown.
To Jeff Jagodzinski.
First and goal, Ryan with a play fake, throws wide open. Ryan with plenty of time to throw, end zone, touchdown.
Pass attempts now in the ball game.
Ryan going deep. Gunnell got away with a push.
Yes, he did.
And he'll get a touchdown. That should have been offensive interference, at least. Hoyer with time now being pressured. To the end zone, touchdown. Boston College will finish its season 11-3, and this will be the 8th straight bowl game they have won. That's a remarkable record.
8th straight bowl game they've won. Back-to-back 10-win seasons for the first time in school history, and the first time they've won 11 games in a season at Boston College since 1940.
The final score, Boston College 24, Michigan State 21. The Emerald Bowl coming up next.